Hello everyone, welcome back to Joy's JCfinger. I've built the Just 21 agency. It's a modeling agency owned by Jessica, who is the wife to Dr. Alexander. She lives in the beach house. If you haven't heard a bit about that story, then go over to my playlist and watch the beach house, and you get to have a little story on her. So she owns this agency. It's called Just 21, as said before, because they go for younger models and teens basically. So I have obviously gone completely excited with the new items that we've received in this last event called Hair Today, Gone Tomorrow. The windows and the pictures and all the fabulous items are within this build. On the exterior, however, I decided to go exceptionally modern. And it was quite interesting to play around with the items. For instance, these are two standing salon mirrors on the outside, giving the build some sort of mirror window at the top there. And then I decided to go for the strong blacks and the bright bricks and some greenery to soften it down, so it really had that edge. And I like this building. It's on a small plot, and it's the Latin Villa plot, and it's quite a nice plot, I have to say. It looks like it's somewhere in downtown LA or West Hollywood or something like that. I think it's really lovely. So the palm trees continue into the plot here on the side, and the idea was to create irregularity on the shape of this building on this plot, so that the idea of a square completely disappears. There is a seating area out back here for the staff during the course of the day, and this is the side entrance here into the building for staff only. Now, some models as well have to come and line up out here to go upstairs to the catwalk studio, and we'll see that later as we get into the build, but it's generally the entrance for the staff. And that staircase then leads up to this platform here, where we have an industrial rooftop type of corner with some boilers serving the property, and the top floor generally is for the staff, and that's where models who already work with the agency come up to get their clothes fitted and to catwalk for, you know, the owners of this modeling agency. That's the back door for the photographer who comes out to get a minute, and there are a number of smoke machines out here, and I'll explain why they're there when we get into the build. So now that we've had a good look at the shape of this building and its edgy, industrial, sharp, modern look, we're now going to go inside and have a look at what's going on. So this is the entrance right here, and I've gone for the black managerial front desk, you know, and I prefer this photograph for the entrance of this type of reception, just the one dashing photo, and I use the same one in my salon, but I think it's really lovely and I preferred it again in this build. The reception is covered in glass all round, so if you were driving by in the city you would have a good glance at just the reception, obviously. I have a standing coat rack in the corner there for anyone who walks in and might be sitting down for a bit, and I think it's just a nice, you know, reception area. Now I'm going to get the staff member to walk into the kitchen here, where she would prepare teas and coffees for whoever was sitting down waiting for their turn to get into the studio for some shoots, and she also would keep her own lunch in here if she wanted to eat at her lunchtime. It would have been stored in that fridge, and other staff members who work in this build would use that kitchen, as well as another one upstairs. This is the door to the cloakroom, which is also a bathroom. So what you have is a rack on the side here, just before you turn into the cloakroom. And it's a cloakroom because there are a set of drawers on the side of the wall here. So some of the models that come in for a photo shoot might be given a key to one of these drawers, and they would put away some of their personal things and then come in and, you know, get down to business. And then when they're done, they would come in here, and if they wanted to use the restroom, then of course they could just carry on a few steps further in, wash their hands or use the toilet, then wash their hands, refresh, and then leave at the end of their appointment. And so that's why it's shaped in this manner. There are two cubicles, and I think that's adequate enough. And then you come back out into the main studio, which is my favorite part of this build. It just looks very unresidential. And it's an exciting thing for me because I'm always building normally homes. I built a city building, I think last year, and I don't think I've done anything else that's commercial. Maybe I've forgotten. I've done quite a few videos, but I like it when I do something that isn't a residential home. Yes, I've done a restaurant, I've done a hotel, of course, a library and stuff like that. It just becomes more exciting for me because it's just not a house, you know. So there is a section here for Ramon to get some of the models styled to the desire of the project manager. So he would make sure that they're looking all spick and span, and also looking exactly as required for whatever publication might be requiring that look. And then once they're done, or once he's done with a client, they would then come over here and get situated, and photographs will be taken of them. I've got Kylie here in the pink hair and the white top and the beautiful bottoms, and I have Warren in the fabulous, you know, blue trainers and I think he looks fantastic. And then I have Carl, who has the purple hair, on his phone, so clearly he's having an issue as part of this group. And I have Jeanette, who is ready and raring to go. If they are not up to standard, they'll go back to that seat and then they'll be brought back up here again, and you know, the process continues. These smoke machines then can be switched on, obviously from within the building. You have to use your imagination. And then we've got the smoke effect, or the wind machines, you know. And so this gives the photograph a completely different dramatic look, and we'll see what some of those photographs look like somewhere towards the end of this video. When we get to Jessica's computer, we're going to see what she does with all these photographs. On the side here we have a stand for makeup, and you know, they get all dolled up in that corner and prepped as well. So Luca and Paul work really hard on the equipment, and they spend a lot of time out through those doors to get some air. We're going to now look at this section here, and this is where Paul comes in. He would do videos for adverts, you know, short promos. So not film, but short films, you know, say for a product for Louis Vuitton or for L'Oreal or something like that. And it's basically what you would see in the advert, say on a YouTube video, right? It's about 30 seconds long or 15 seconds long, and that's what would happen here. And at the same time, in the same studio, I use this particular stand for painting shoots, if I might call it that. So there are photo shoots and then there are painting shoots, you know, where they get their portraits done. I've got a staff member now going upstairs, and we'll have a look at that part later, but it's nice to see how she gets up there. So this would be for a different kind of publication that prefers artistic photographs, you know. And then of course I have a collection of famous models who have come through these doors and have been very successful in their careers, and it's now up on the wall for people who come in to see and realize that they could be these models. This is the office of the line manager on duty, so whoever is working down on this floor would be mostly using that computer, particularly Luca here, who is, you know, really breaking his back and working on the best, you know, photos that he could get from these models that are stood here. He would get as many pictures as possible as you could imagine, and then of course get back to his computer, load them up, and start deleting those that are not good enough, those that were out of focus, and so on and so forth. So, you know, basically he would use that computer, and after he has edited down as many as possible, he would then send what he has then put together as his best lot to the staff upstairs, and we'll see that later. So there are a set of double doors for this office here, so he could just go upstairs if he wanted to from within, while staff could go past from the outside up the staircase. So now we've come back here and the first door as you come up the stairs is to another staff restroom, and it's really nice, it's classy, it's just glamorous. I did this again in here as I did in my salon. These bathrooms or restrooms are now looking really glamorous, and I just love that. There's a toilet cubicle in the corner that's in a private section there, and it's basically somehow outside of the building. So as you come into this corridor, I'm just going to get Megan to come out into the corridor. You have a drinks machine or a vending machine where you could get your crisps, your sweets, your chocolates, and unhealthy stuff, basically some kind of snack in some way. And down the other end of the corridor, we have a clothing rack on wheels. You have to imagine they're on wheels because they're taken downstairs for the models to try on when they're taking their photos. But in here, we have the actual studio where the tailors work really hard and the fashion designers work really hard on specific pieces for specific events, say the red carpet or something like that. And there are computers stationed beside each of these workstations. So essentially it means that these fashion designers shuttle between the computer and the fashion stand to work together and bring out a desirable piece that will then be hung up in these wardrobes here and will be inspected by Jessica herself. So I have the same thing on the other side of the room here. We have this lovely trunk from the Penthouse update. I have a few of those, and I thought I'd drop it in the center of the room there. It would have lots of items that would be useful to putting these pieces together. And so basically once the dresses are ready, they will be hung out on that rack there and taken downstairs. So there is a stand here with flower pots, bits and bobs and all kinds of things used for fashion designing, I would say. I know they look like tubs of creams, but you have to understand that they might be glues as well. So hey, you never know. This is Jessica Alexander's office. It's that office with a view. She sees the front part of the building. She sees the highlights of the city. And she is just in one of those offices like The Devil Wears Prada. You remember the big boss? I mean, I thought I'd create something like that, but I love this office. It's just classic. It's beautiful. She's meant to be a cutthroat, savvy businesswoman who is very successful. She was a model back in her day and has gone on to create her own fashion modeling agency and publication and is doing quite well. Now, do remember to go over to my playlist and watch The Beach House. I tell a little story about her journey in life and how she got to this place, so it's quite interesting. So yeah, she was the first fashion designer I had in my town when I started playing the game. And I never took that hobby away from her, and I just have always seen her as an icon in that way, and I love that I've been able to build this for her. She's a very long time sim in the game for me. This is the boardroom, which is also the company's runway, so it's more like an interview room as well. And this is a wide screen. You can imagine this boardroom would not be typical. This is the screen where they would look through the promos that Paul would be working on downstairs and even some of the photographs. And then they have a runway here in front of this boardroom table, and I set it out that way so that models can come and walk back and forth in front of the, say, owners of very important labels that Jessica would have brought in so that they could sample some of the models, you know, and their work. And so this is what this room would have going on inside of it. Now there is a kitchen in here, again, for teas and coffees for the staff. And what would a kitchen be in a workplace without pizza boxes? There must be pizza boxes, always pizza boxes, but of course there's fruit. And so this is the kitchen up here, and teas and coffees will be brought in by Jessica's assistant. Now let's see what Jessica does on these computers. She gets the photographs from Luca and she then makes her own selection of those pictures that she feels would be worth it and would suit the publication that she's about to put out there with her editor. So she's chosen Warren, she's chosen Kylie, and she's chosen Jeanette. And what she's done is edit the photos, Photoshop them, crop them, do everything you could possibly think to get the very best product out of those photographs. And then after that, she begins to work with some dramatic effects, you know, so that the publication would be quite catchy, you know. So the smoke effect, for instance, is what you've seen here on the back of Kylie's picture, and it's been beautified in this way and it looks amazing, right? And then we go for Warren, who was so pale, and she's gone on to create a chisel effect on the jawline here, on the cheekbones, and she's made it really dramatic, I have to say. Then we had Jeanette, who looked more of a goth style model, and she sprinkled fairy dust all over it, and we've got this look which I think is beautiful, and the eye on that model is to die for. Then she works on a collage for the front part of the Just 21 magazine, which is a publication that she's been working on. It's been her dream and it's come together for her. And basically it's a publication that goes around different age groups, which would be, youngsters really. But then for the ultimate model, who was the best out of the three, we then have that particular model as the cover for a more mature publication called Glamour. How much simoleons is enough? And all kinds of interesting details would be in this cover publication. And every model that comes through her doors wants to be on the cover of this publication. And then in second place, they would want to get on to at least Just 21. And that's what Jessica does every day at her place of work. That was fun for me, I tell you. I don't know what it is about this update that really tickles me, but the photographs and the unique items that we can interact with and so on, it makes the game so much fun. And I hope you're having as much fun with the game as I am anyway. And if you want a live build for this, do leave some comments down below or tweet me in the description. I have a link to my Twitter and my Instagram, so don't forget to follow me on there. And if you tweet me, I'll get an instant notification and I'll be able to respond to you right away, as much as possible, obviously. So it's actually great that I have a place to send Jessica to every morning to go to work. So she's basically opened up a very successful business and it's booming, as you can imagine. So if you've not watched The Beach House, don't forget to do so. You get to hear a little bit more about her. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again soon. Bye.